Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 3. Hope you're all doing well today and looking forward to today's episode where hopefully we're going to be having the youth intake come through. Thought I'd mess with you all today and wear a green Lincoln City top instead to blend in nicely with the green screen. It's not quite the same colour green, so I am slightly... I'm translucent, that's what I am. See, it is slightly different green. It's a very lovely kit, but, you know, I just thought I'd spook you. Since you guys were last here, they've not been swimmingly. Since you guys were last here, things haven't been going amazingly well. I mean, they've gone well, but just not quite to the extent we want them to go well. As you can see, since you were last here for the 3-2 loss to Getafe in the Copa del Rey second round, we beat Merida 3-0 obviously last episode too. Since then, loads of draws, 4 draws, 3 wins and a loss in there. So we're still in good form. You know, we're still winning games. We're not really losing them, but we're struggling to win them. That's the biggest issue right now. We started off with a 1-1 draw against Malaga with Marco Dobriev, of course, leaving at the end of the season to join a second division side on a free contract. Is rather frustrating, but he's scored a goal there at least to avoid defeat against Malaga. We then beat Tenerife B 3-0, which was absolutely fantastic, before coming up against Lenes, drawing 2-2 there. We then had 2 wins on the bounce, a 3-1 win against Jaén and then a 3-2 win against Linares, with Raul Jr. picking up quite a few goals in those 2 games. Before Kike got a brace against Motril in a game that we drew 2-2. It then got pretty bad against Marino as we lost 2-1 there. And last time out, we couldn't even score in a 0-0 draw with Algeciras, which is probably not how you say the name. So overall, not the best of times really in between episodes. We are just very, very lucky that other teams around us have also been slipping up. The league table, as we head into the final few games of the season, is rock solidly close. Is that even a thing? Rock solidly close? What I'm trying to say is it's very close. As you can see, Almeria also dropping lots of points in between episodes as well. They've won quite a few, but also drawn a few and lost a few as well. So they've been dropping points. Marino have managed to catch up with it. Was sort of been a 2-horse race between us and Almeria. Marino have caught us up a little bit. They're 3 points behind the both of us, and they could do some damage because they're in form right now, having beaten us recently. Sevilla Atletico also coming up behind them. So it's a 4-horse race really for the title now, I would say. I think Ejido may just be a little bit too far behind to catch up these 4 teams, us 4 teams, to get themselves into a playoff place. But we do run the risk of not getting a playoff place if we don't start to win every game now for the rest of the season. As you can see, Largi Ramazani has scored 28 goals for Almeria this season, and looks like he is going to be the man who is going to take home the golden boot at the end of the season. But Raul Jr. with his 21 goals has been trying very, very hard. Today's first game is against relegation-threatened Granada B. Obviously, they need to be winning to get themselves out that relegation zone, but we need to win to get ourselves back on top of the pile. So, heading into this game, we've got Anthony Ward in goal with a backline of Eusebio, Monzo, Lopez, Dobrievic and Gabalondo. The centre of midfield is made up of Shittigel, Cipollina and on loan midfielder David, because Randy Schneider did pick up a knock in between episodes and he's been out for most of that time, actually not been playing many games at all. So we definitely have missed him and his presence in the centre of midfield. Raul Jr., Crosdale and Kike make up the striking trio. Raul Jr. just come back from a little knock that he's had as well, with O'Nino getting a bit of a run out in the team. But O'Nino just doesn't score goals, I'm afraid, at the moment. So, heading into the first game of today's episode against Granada, obviously we need to get the win. We're the early kickoff, or the kickoff the day before, because this game's on TV, I think. So hopefully we should get a little bit of TV money for this, which won't help us out massively because we do have some financial issues, which I'll talk to you about in between the 2 games in today's episode. In between episodes, not an awful lot of stuff has happened, actually, but that's because of one big thing that did happen in between episodes, which, again, we'll go into a little bit in between the actual games that we play in today's episode. I've said in between quite a few times in that sentence. That's a little bit confusing. In the meantime, it's Granada coming forward, and they put the ball over the top, and Anthony Ward forced to make a really good save there. I feel like wearing his green top was a bit of a mistake. I just keep catching my glimpse of myself on like my recording screen, and basically I'm just a floating head. Annoyingly, Dave has just picked up an injury right at the start of the second half. But I was about to say, if it's annoying me, then surely it must be annoying you. This is better. I can put this one on. I feel like I'm in the video now. There's a presence in the video. I've got another Lincoln City shirt on instead, as we look to bring the ball out from the back in the 67th minute as Shittigel just gives it away. The issue we've had in recent games is that we're just not very good at creating stuff. Like, I don't know what Raul Jr. is doing there. He should have just taken the ball on himself to take a shot, but instead passed it all the way back. And in the end, it doesn't matter because Kike gets his 20th of the season, but I don't know, there's a bit of bizarre decision making sometimes in our players. At least, as it stands, we are picking up the 3 points today, which is the most important thing. It may not be a particularly remarkable result or a very good game for a viewer perspective because there were literally 2 highlights in that entire game, I think, but at least we've got the 3 points. So let's see how the other teams get on. Hopefully, Marino lose to La Jolla. La Jolla hopefully get the win there. And then if we also look at the... Where are they? Almeria. They're playing Don Benito, who are currently 12th on the table. Hopefully Don Benito at least take some points away from Almeria B. Let's see how they get on as the game processes slower than I thought it was going to. I thought there'd be a nice transition there just to say how they get on, and then it's just not worked out, and I fumbled over my words a little bit. Luckily for us though, La Jolla beat Marino and Almeria do drop points, so we are now actually top of the table by 2 points. Of course, this doesn't matter because winning the league doesn't give you automatic promotion, does it? We found that out the hard way last season, but with only, 5 games to go this season, it's looking good. So, as we are now on international duty and we're waiting for the youth intake to come through, it's a good time to talk about the one big thing that's happened in between episodes that has affected most of what is not happened in between episodes. The finances. The finances is the big thing. It's the big issue. We are over £1 million in debt now, and because of that, the board have slashed our wage budget to only £9,418 per week, down from the £15,000 it was at the start of the season, down from the £26,000 per season or per week it was the previous season. So real financial difficulties. And what this has meant is, because we currently have a committed spend of far too much money for next season, what it's meant is that we've been unable to offer players for next season contracts. And that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to come to today's episode and say we've got 3 or 4 players signed up for next season. Unfortunately, we don't, because we can't sign players on free transfers because we can't offer them a contract because we've got no money. And so what this means is that going into next season, unfortunately, players are going to have to be sold. And I think some fan favourite players maybe. It will all depend, obviously, on if we get promoted and if we get, money for being promoted and stuff like that. But in my opinion, we are struggling massively. We are £1.1 million in debt after the sale of Randy Schneider. We've already got the money coming in for Randy Schneider. That's already come to the club. That's in our coffers. If we didn't sell Randy Schneider, we'd be £1.5 million in debt. Obviously, the players with the big minimum fee release clauses are the Raul Juniors. They are the Anthony Ward, the Onino Juniors. They're the ones with the big contracts. And so one of them's probably got to go, which is really sad. Really sad. But just know that those players will make a huge impact in the overall financial health of the club in the long run. You never know, it might not come to that. It might not come to that. Shitty Joe might be able to fix everything for us, but something tells me that he can't. Because we've got players on international duty, other teams are playing a game whilst we're not playing a game, so we'll see what happens midweek here, or say midweek, at the end of the week on the Sunday, see how these teams get on, because this obviously affects us massively. If Almeria and Marino drop points again, that puts us in a fantastic position. And Marino do drop points. They are down to 54 points and potentially out of the title race now. They might be too far off us, really. Almeria did win 3-1 though, so they go ahead of us by a single point. But obviously, winning the league isn't everything because we won it last season, didn't get promoted. Just coming in the top 3 is the most important thing. So that is obviously the first thing we want to do, finish in the top 3. But obviously winning the title would be icing on the cake as well. But we've got a game in hand now. We can win it and go back on top of the table, and it will all be amazing. So where is this youth intake then? I've got plenty of things to say about the youth intake, so I'm ready and raring for it to come along. Every year in March, from the 27th of March now, so it's got to be any moment now. Whilst we get ready for the youth intake, it's actually a very good opportunity to say thank you to the newest Patreons to the channel, Ricky and Scott. Thank you very much for your support. Massively appreciate that. And of course, if you want to join the Patreon and get a regen named after you in the future, link down in the description below. Be nice if we did actually get youth intakes though. Come on, where is it? They're leaving it to the very last day of March, pretty much. Here it is, the newest youth intake. let's have a closer look at this one. So I'll tell you what, it looks alright to me. We've got Steve Spencer up here, a centre midfielder with 4.5 stars of potential. He's got 2-star current ability as well, so could slot straight into that first team as a backup player. A centre mid, a playmaker, a Carolero, Mazzala, anything. I like what I'm seeing there. That's very, very decent, to be fair. Comes in and could be very good for us. Has got 11 free kick taken as well, so we could develop him to be a free kick specialist. Determination is high. His teamwork's high. His work rate and vision are relatively high for his age. I kind of like what I see. Luke Gray, an attacking midfielder through the middle. We don't really use attacking midfielders, but of course we can retrain him to be a centre midfield or something like that. As you can see, technically is nowhere near as good as the previous guy we just looked at, but physically and mentally looks pretty decent as well. Determination a bit lower, but still got very high teamwork, and his vision and work rate also pretty decent. We could do some work with you, Luke Gray. I think we could probably retrain you a little bit. He's got professional personality as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So I think would be capable to be retrained in a different position. And then Frank Perat. Is that Perat or Pert? Pert. I'm struggling with that too much. Either way, he looks decent. Again, he's also got professional personality, which is great, to be fair, and really good determination, leadership. His teamwork and his vision and work rate are quite low in comparison, to be fair, so we need to do something to get that up a little bit, but I like what I see. Did Steve Spencer have professional personality as well? Spirited. It's not quite as good. And then we've got a few of the players with 3-star, 2.5 stars potential that maybe won't quite make the first team, but these top 3 players, they could do a job for us. Potentially, they could be the Wonderkids of the future. And speaking of Wonderkids of the future, you can track them and how they progress in their own respective youth divisions by downloading the OneFootball app. OneFootball doesn't just cover the top leagues in the world, it covers basically every league in the world to get live scores and updates, as well as youth leagues, including things like the Premier League 2 for the youth teams in there. So you can get all the information you need on the youth teams and the youth players that you want to track for your team, or of course just want to track for Football Manager purposes as well. There's a link down in the description below to download the OneFootball app for free. I would massively appreciate it if you could do that for me. Would really love it. So I'm pretty happy with this. The thing is though, obviously with the financial issues that we've got, we can probably only afford to actually only get the top 3 players into the club. We might have to let 1 or 2 of these go. Maybe the guys with 1.5 stars of current ability, we could get them in for the B team. But it's going to be difficult because obviously you've seen the finances. We have to pay each player at least £150 a week, I think. So it does add up if you start to get a load of these players into the club. Speaking of contracts, it's a shame because I think we're going to have to let Mustafa Yaya go because we just don't have enough money in the club to be giving him a new contract. And I love Yaya. I think he's great, but we're paying him £1,000 a week. And the annoying thing is he's not going to want to take a pay cut, is he? And if we do get a pay cut for him, it's going to have to be a significant 50% or more pay cut. So I think Yaya might have to go. Obviously, we'd like to keep all of them. But other than Cipollina, they all might have to go. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully not. Either way, it's El Ejido coming up next in the league. Win this game, we go back on top of the table. Oh, we are the late kickoff today. So, how is everyone... Oh, this is all latest scores. Oh, no, it's not latest scores. Salaqueno have actually beaten Almeria. So now we've got 2 games in hand in Almeria. And amazing. Okay, so the league title is ours for the taking. They were the early kickoffs. These are the ones with the L's next to them. That's latest scores, so they're not finished yet. But it's great to see that Salaqueno have done us a huge favour there. Marino have won their game as well, but that doesn't matter to us too much, particularly now that we've got 2 games in hand on both those sides. So all we've got to do is just win. Just win, haven't we? Gabilondo's injured, so Kian Ronan will come on for him at right back, and then we'll get Jez Finley on the bench. David is injured slightly, so we will bring Powell onto the pitch instead. Other than that, don't want to change the lineup, so let's submit the team and... Come on, boys, do not bottle this. So, kickoff is upon us in today's final game. Come on, let's just get the win. I mean, drawing the game is fine as well. In fact, losing it's not that bad because we've got 2 games in hand now, haven't we? Where we can go top of the table if we want to in one of those 2 games in hand. But obviously, we want to go top of the table by quite a long way, and that's not how we do it as El Ejido open up the scoring. It would be absolutely typical of us, wouldn't it, to go 2 games in hand, potentially go and win the league title with those 2 games in hand, and then just bottle it completely. I wouldn't put it past us at all as Taylor Crosdale into Pau, who gets his first goal for the club. Now that was what I call a goal. So that goal brings us back on level terms with El Ejido. Now we just need to go and score a few more to actually win the game. But we're not going to do that in the first half by looks of things. As the clock ticks down and half-time comes around, I am going to be a bit aggressive with the boys at half-time, thrash my arms around, far from pleased from what I've just seen. If we want to win this division for the second season in a row, and maybe not even get promoted for a second season in a row, we need to win games. In the meantime, Javi Garcia... By the way, when I say in the meantime, it's usually because I've started talking about something, I've messed it up along the way, forgot what my original point was, and then I've just thought, okay, I'll just say in the meantime instead, and then it'll all be okay. Because that was a long highlight, and I messed things up massively in there. So that's just a little, editor's clip, tip, secret sneak peek behind the scenes thing. Whenever I say in the meantime, it's pretty much because I have messed things up like the players just have there. You hate to see it. Don't worry, Tom. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Let's get Cipollina off for Yaya. Who else wants to come off the pitch? Who's played badly? Most players. Kike, off you go for Onino Jr. and then swap over with Martel Taylor Crosdale. As long as we finish in the top 3, that's the only thing that matters. Finish in the top 3 and it'll be absolutely fine. It doesn't matter if we win the league title because we found out last season that we don't get promoted if we win the league title. So just finishing in the top 3 is fine, but obviously we want the silverware to actually say we won the league title. But El Ejido get the better of us there. I think really the league title is going to come down to who is going to bottle things the least. So 5 games unbeaten at home. That run has ended now that we've lost to El Ejido. Obviously not brilliant. And actually our second loss in 4 games there, which is poor. Speaking of 4 games, that's all we've got left this season. 4 games. We're going to come back next time for Almeria B, which is going to be an absolutely huge game. And then also Sevilla as well, who are also a playoff side and looking to win the title. So, huge 2 games for the final 2 games of the season. They could not get any bigger than that. So if you have enjoyed today's episode, please do drop a like on the video for me. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I will see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.